The Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast, sponsored by the Lockdown Defense Sports Network, is our weekly show dedicated to elite advice in standard leagues, PPR, and dynasty leagues. We are not guaranteeing you will win anything by our advice, but if you do, we want our cut. Enjoy the show. Are you tired of losing at fantasy football? Well, have a seat. You come to the right place. You're now tuned into the show where champions are made, where speed meets strategy, elite advice, rapid fire analysis, and winning lineups are provided. It all happens faster than Tyreek Hill's 40 time. So strap in. Let's dominate your draft, crush your matchups, and take a ride all the way to that fantasy goal right here on the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast. Let's go. To all my heavy hitters and lockdown defenders, welcome to the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast live show. Wednesday night is the night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, each and every week about the NFL season. I am your host, Coach Defense, alongside the real AG, Alex Givens. He is back in the building, live and direct. The man, the myth, the legend. We call him the real AG because his picks are all good. If y'all don't know already. Good brother, good sir. How you doing? How's fatherhood? How's the life, man? What's going on? What's happening?
It's a totally different kind of grind. I'm coming to learn. So we just we read and adapt day by day over here, brother.
That's a fact.
Excited to get a little time away, do the show, talk some fantasy, talk some football, ready to get it rolling.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. Week 8 is in the books, man, and we are literally across the halfway threshold of the fantasy football season. We are gearing up. It is that time to get ready for the fantasy football championship. Start getting your lineups right now. Because listen, you don't want to be that last minute scrambler, try to get that last minute gift on the 23rd of December. Try to get your wife a good Christmas gift when the stores are picked clean. When the waiver wires are picked clean, when everything's gone, you're picking third and fourth string guys trying to win a championship. That's not a good look. It's not a good look. So we're going to start. Yeah, not at all. We're going to start to get prepped and ready right now. We're going to start to get ready right now. So, anybody that's in a good spot or in that middle tier, that on that cusp, on the outside looking in, a couple of wins will get you there. We're going to get you right. We're going to get you right. So if you're looking for that goal and you're trying to get to that goal fast, Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast is where you want to be. Drop in the comments down below. Let us know how you feel about the podcast and how things are rolling. Your questions, throw them out throughout the show, and we're going to get right to it, man. As always, we get some information out there to you, in regards to what's going on with the Fantasy Football League. But if you need advice or you're looking for us, offline, we do have a hotline. The Fantasy Football hotline for the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast is here live and direct. You can drop us a direct line if you need to leave us a voicemail. The number's on the screen if you watch this on YouTube or any outlet that we're streaming on. The number for the listeners is 240-249-2220. Once again, it's 240-249-2220. We can give us a call, drop us a voicemail, let us know how we can reach back out to you, drop your questions, and we'll get back to you in short order. So as always, there's an outlet and there's a reach you can get to us if you need us, if you can't read us through social media or any other platform, or you don't watch the show live. So as always, again, you can leave your comments in the video or hit us up. It doesn't matter. We'll get back to you in short order. Not a big time deal. We'll get back to you. We're happy to help. So as we do our, each and every week throughout the show, live show, we sponsor 2 fantasy football leagues. We have a redraft league and we have a dynasty league. So we like to recap those particular leagues real quick and see how things are rolling. Some things are trending up for people. Some things are trending down. Things are starting to change. And like I said, it's that push. You're getting through these bye weeks. We had Bamageddon last week, so we had that to deal with. We, a lot of us survived it. Some of us didn't. But hey, you got to keep it rolling. Gotta keep it rolling. So we're going to talk about exactly what's happening in each one of those leagues. Give a quick recap for week 8 for the Dynasty League and the Redraft League, and get who's matching up this week, and then we'll get out there and we'll move on. But starting with the Redraft League, we had some interesting things going on there. So as for me, yeah, I had to get out the mud this week. I had to get it out the mud this week. I'm telling you, I had to get it out the mud. It was a rough go. It was a rough go. I had to go against Cody. I was down big. I was down like 85 to 119. I want to say going into Sunday night. So I had Tucker Craft on the docket, and I had Patrick Mahomes. And boy, Patrick Mahomes made me sweat it out. I was texting Alex all throughout the game like, bro, get your man.
Like, what's happening? Yeah.
Man,
hey, I was right there with you, man.
Like, it's boy. I need him to be the regular Mahomes, not this craziness. He pulling a Sam Donald on me. I can't live like this. I can't live like this. But he turned it around. He got me right, and we prevailed. Got about a 19-point victory. So I'm not mad. Riding high, 6-2, and still in third place right now. Right behind the next matchup, we're going to talk about how young RG, the young Padawan himself, smoked the reigning champ, boy. Smoked his boots. Goodness gracious. 135.
Stressed him down.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Like, why couldn't I get DZ this week, man? Come on.
Okay, because I got to play him this week.
Yeah, right.
I need that same love, right? That's like getting robbed and you got to walk home naked. It's just a fleecing out here. Jesus. 135 to 65, boy. We know that was the worst beating of the week. You know how they get that ranking?
Damn.
It was bad. It was bad. Even DZ said it. He put the gif out there with the dog getting spanked.
Yeah. To be fair, he did call it last week on the show. I do remember that.
I thought it was smoking mirrors, but he had something brewing there.
I thought it was the reverse psychology, like Bill Belichick gets to do. Like, they're a great team. It's like, bro, you're playing the 1-10 Titans right now. Yeah, they're great.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was a little bit mind games he was playing, but I guess he knew when we didn't, because it was brutal.
Yeah,
it was brutal. So Robert's in the top spot now, holding down at the one spot. They're both 7-1. I'm 6-2, holding it down. Coach D. Bell got a victory over Josh this week, 118-85. That was a good one. He's now 2-6. The man himself, the real AG, took a bad one.
Just terrible.
Yeah.
He got 30 points from the Bills defense, bro.
That's the problem.
When the hell has that ever happened? Come on.
That's fantasy football in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I know, but damn.
Why me? That's what I always say. Why me?
Yeah, like, why do I got to catch these strays? Like 50 Cent, you know? Like, what do you say up me for?
That's a good one. Oh man, yes. We don't like to catch strays, and that happens sometimes in fantasy football. So 115 to 101. So yeah, he's back down to 3-5. They're both 3-5, ironically, off that game. And Cool Cam, who came through last night for the lockdown blitz, and he was talking cash trash last night because he said he's holding on. He's at 500, 4-4 against 5, who's now 4-4 out the riding high. He was the first place in the beginning of the season. Now he's dropped. Straight. So,
straight, I think.
It's crazy. So he lost that game 97-90. And then Coach Mike Dub got another dub, ironically enough, pun intended. He beat up on Kirk this week, 130-92. So that was a drubbing. That would have been the beating of the week if it hadn't been for Robert.
Seriously.
Yeah, that'd have been it. So there's your matchup for the Fantasy Redraft League. So getting over to the Dynasty League, and I finally changed my name, and I think it was an omen. I think it was an omen. Finally changed my team name. You know, little bit of Anakin Skywalker shout out there. My team is now called You Lack Conviction. So we got the dub this week, 153 to 112 against Spice. I should be 4-4 right now. It's freaking Sam Darnold, screwed the pooch last week and cost me a victory. Mike Evans getting hurt, Nico Collins getting hurt, and he played like ass. So we lost that game, so we should be 500 right now. But I'm not in last place anymore. That's the positive. I'm trending up. I don't know about this week though. It's bad. We'll see what the matchups look like. But Panda went against Roddy Shank, and he got a victory. What is that? 181.
Yeah, I was like, damn, Panda. All right.
Woo, that's brutal. Yeah, 181 to 126.
And he lost his first round pick for the whole year.
He did, and he's still balling. So that tells you what kind of team he got.
Seriously.
Yeah, man. And you had to go against S. Rich, and that was a close one. though. It was a nail biter.
No, that's the one
What?
I texted you about. I had Mahomes, Pacheco, and Debo Samuel, and this was basically the score with like 6 minutes left in the game. I'm like, come on, something's got to happen.
I can't get 2 points. You were dealing like I was dealing last week with
I
Sam
know.
Darnold. Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought I was going to get it with Pacheco, and then he went down. So
yeah. MCL sprain. Yeah, sucks.
Yeah, Texas Hammers may have to just start selling. All right, we might just move on to 2026.
Sell.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, indeed. So the Goat Farmer had to go against B Shank, 135 to 100. B Shank got a victory there. Nightmare fell to Jacob, 156 to 139. And S Boys got back to his normal thugging the league in 110 to 99 against Drew Dudley. So yeah, so there's your standings.
The Bowerless Rangers.
Bowerless. That's hilarious. Yeah, because he's coming back this week, hopefully, but he hadn't been there for the last few weeks. So that's definitely it. Definitely it. So he probably should have changed his name for those time frames.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So getting into the week 9 matchups in the standings. So we got let's get this out the way here.
Yeah.
So we got the Robert at the top of the league of the redraft league. He's 7-1. DZ, by virtue of Robert beating him down, is now 71-2. I'm third with 6-2. Cody is 5-3. At 5 is 4-4 at 5. Still holding down the 5 spot. Cool Cavs
say that 3 times.
I'm fast, right? Say it 3 times fast. Yeah. So 5 is in 5 with 4-4. Cool Cav was the reason why he was talking trash last night because he's in the playoffs technically right now at 4-4 with the 6th spot. You at the 7th spot, 3-5.
I'm right there.
Yeah. Just just saying it's a chance. That's it. But you and Mike Dub are both 3-5, holding down the 7-8 spot. Keith at 9 with 3-5. D Bev at 2-6. Josh at 2-6, and Kirk rounding out the fracas at 2-6 as well. All right, so I'm going against DZ again this week, and there's a large margin of victory I got going on right now, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. DZ team just rises from the ashes like a phoenix when you think they got him down and beat bad. So I'm the fingers crossed. I'm not doing it with reverse psychology. I'm nervous. But if I can get that dub and Cody can pull it upset, I might be in first place. So I'm with it. So we'll see. But Robert going against Cody this week. He's got a nice margin victory there. Josh got a big margin victory over Keith. That's crazy. That's 92% already, and we only had Wednesday.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, you going against D Bev. You got a nice margin victory there. CD634. Mike Dub is slated to be 5 in their matchup, 73% to 27, and Cool Cav is slated to be Kurt at 77% to 23. So yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Some good matchups there. Definitely some seeding involved in those matchups for sure. For sure. All right, so in the Dynasty League, of course, S Ball still riding high. He's only one game out of losing the first spot if he drops another game. So S Rich is on his heels at 6-2. B Shank at 5-3. Panda at 4-4. Riley Shank at 4-4. Travis Hunter Jacob is at 4-4. Nightmare is at 3-5. Go Farmer at 3-5. Bow Ranger at 3-5. Me at 3-5 as well. You at 3-5, and Spice rounding it out at 3-5. So yeah, so it's gonna be.
It's still up for grabs kind of here.
Very much so. At least everybody, but obviously the 1 and 2 spot is pretty solid. Everybody else is only 2 games from being out of it altogether. That's for sure. So we're gonna keep grinding. We're gonna keep grinding. So I got Bower Ranger this week, and he gets Bower back. Go figure, right? Just my luck. He gets him back. So that's one thing. So S Rich going against Panda, so that's gonna be a good matchup. You going against Roddy Shank.
Yes.
Jacob going against B Shank. Nightmare going against Go Farmer, and S Boy's going against Spice. So can Spice pull up the upset?
Come on,
first.
Spice.
You got this, buddy. You got this. Bye week, man. It's
we believe.
Right. Get it done. Get her done. So yeah, we'll see how things roll with that. But some good matchups there. So shouts out to everybody in the league, man. Keep doing your thing, man. We'll keep balling out here. But getting into the fantasy football aspect of it, we're going to talk about our best performers. So we had some interesting, performers this week as well. Some repeat offenders, some new names. So we can give you our best performers, top 5 best performers for each position, and our worst performers for each position. Getting through that. So for starters, let's talk about the money making positions, as you can see.
Yeah.
Right. So we got Jordan Love, damn near perfect against the Steelers on Sunday night. with 28.3. Devontae Maye, who's been balling out of his control. People singing his praises in New England. 27-3 with the second place spot. Justin Herbert with 3 at 26.3. Jalen Hurts with a masterful game in Philly over the weekend against the Giants, 25.4. And Patrick Mahomes rounded out again, saving my bacon in our redraft league with 25 points after a rocky start. When he threw 2 picks,
Yeah,
he threw 2 picks before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, one wasn't really his fault, but fantasy doesn't care about that.
It does not. It cares none. It cares none. So yes, I definitely agree with that. So yeah, so we got that. Then we got the running backs. Jonathan Taylor with 36.4, killing. I mean, this tearing of the league, and we was laughing backstage about Robert and how we just allowed for him to get Bijan and Jonathan Taylor in the league, and he's just dominating everybody with that tandem. So as long as they keep cooking, he keeps winning. That's all you can really say.
Right.
Yeah. It's crazy. So James Cook with 2 with 33.6. Brees Hall with 31.9. Will Brees Hall be a Jet by next week? That's another conversation. Saquon Barkley with 31.4 against his old team. And Chase Brown finally made the list and on the good side with 24 points. So yeah, it's a pretty good week for highly drafted running backs. I think all these running backs here are probably drafted pretty high. So that's a pretty good list for the running back beside. So that's a good one. That's a good one.
James Cook was probably the lowest drafted one.
He probably might be right.
He went off.
He went. I mean, fire.
Yeah, it was insane. I had one team where I had Chase Brown and James Cook, so I pretty much won just from that alone.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, for sure.
But that's that one. I'm pretty sure my wife will win because whoever's had a kid in that league has won. So.
Oh, is that the omen?
Yeah.
With the league.
Yeah, I may or may not have put some consideration into bringing our child into this world. So,
indeed,
strictly for fantasy
purposes only. Hilarious.
But yeah, so for these wide receivers, I did say I had Cortland Sutton in my perfect lineup last week. Pretty much, I put whoever's playing the Cowboys, if they got a decent receiver, I put them in my perfect lineup. Troy Franklin was the guy, not Cortland, but he did go off with 23.9. Dallas just continues to just be a revolving door. Yeah, just playing Olay there in the secondary with these wide receivers. Rashee Rice, second game back, continuing to dominate. I think he's scored 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks so far at 21 points. So it's really nice as a Chiefs fan and as someone who has him in quite a bit of leagues to finally benefit from him being back out there. Michael Pittman Jr. With 19.5, and I don't know if you guys saw the touchdown he caught, but that was an absurd catch.
It was.
Honestly, it's kind of not. I mean, granted, I don't watch SportsCenter as much as I used to in the past to see top 10 plays and all that, but I feel like that catch was just not hyped up that much.
Yeah,
it was a terrible throw by Indiana Jones. Sorry, on what he was trying to do with the ball, and Pittman totally saved his ass. But it is what it is. He had 19.5. Jalen Waddle has kind of been benefiting, for lack of a better word, there from Tyreek being out. Pretty much showing why they took him in the first round. He had 18.4, and Ladidi McConkey getting back in there with 17.8. So pretty solid week for some receivers and kind of some lower tiered guys. They're guys you probably took later maybe outside of Ladd, and Pittman. But some of these guys you took later in drafts are picked. Or Troy Franklin you picked up. So nice benefit there. And then, with the tight ends, we definitely had a little bit more of an explosion on tight end scoring this week. Our man Tucker Kraft was the top dog with 29.8. It was I'll tell you, man, I was buzzing Sunday night watching his performance. It was just like, yes, this is tight.
Go off, man.
Go off, King. Come on.
Yes,
it continues to blow my mind that they took him after Luke Musgrave.
I know. And I thought Musgrave was going to be the guy.
And Musgrave was the more polished pass catcher coming out of college. It's
and like, he can't buy one. he make Tucker Kraft make Luke Musgrave look like a welfare case.
I know, man. It's crazy. Yeah. And then, Travis Kelce, he did he caused one of Mahomes' picks, and then turned around and totally redeemed himself with
Right.
career or season high performance. And shout out as in-house Chiefs guy, shout out to Kelsey. The touchdown that he scored, he tied Priest Holmes for most in franchise history. So that's pretty sick to see that. And as a big Priest Holmes fan growing up, kind of cool to see someone probably about to surpass it. Let's be real. But
That's
he had
real.
18.9. Dallas Goddard was
Yeah.
16.3. Arande Gadsden the second. There we go.
Yes. Yes,
He
indeed.
is. I mean, he's
OG2.
quickly becoming just put him in your tight end spot
And
and
rest easy.
forget and don't even think about it anymore
Forget
because he
about
is. Ever since he's gotten the keys to the position, so to speak, he has balled out. Continue to do that with 16.2, and then Harold Fandon Jr. With 15.4. He did leave the game actually.
No.
When I haven't really seen too much on why, but for National Tight End Day, we had a good showing from some old dogs and some young pups.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So there you have the good guys. So as always, man, there's yin and yang, there's good and bad, there's people that just want
Defense
to make.
kickers.
Oh yeah, damn. I'm great. Good. That's why I have you here.
I
Bro.
caught it late, but
Man,
hey, we caught
yeah,
it.
I always forget that. I would just get rid of
I was like, I know this tagline. It's too early.
Yes. So not forget the defensive kickers. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came through with 26 points this week, in a glowing performance. The Buffalo Bills, 40-9, dubbing, this week, got them 17. The Patriots, 11 points. The Chargers with another 11 points as well. They're tied for third. And the Chiefs come through with 10 points as well. So there's a lot of defense being played from this AFC side, man. That's all
sir.
AFC but one. Bringing up the top 5 of defenses this week. So that was a good showing. And ironically enough, another thing to say my bacon, I was vying for the Colts defense. Didn't get it from a waiver perspective in our league. They ended up with the Chiefs defense. And guess what? It worked out.
Yeah. I was trying to get the Colts in a lot too. So
yeah, missed it because of waiver wire.
I will say it just seems every year more and more people stream defenses, and it's really starting to piss me off.
you were the innovator of streaming defense. When we started this pod, I was like, man, I love just going with one defense all year. You're like, I'll just stream it. Now it's a streaming world.
Now you look for that matchup, man. It's just it's too nice, but it's
it really is.
getting real frustrating. And then if you're in a league that has Fab, the leagues I'm in with that, they're developing with that. Because I used to be able to just be like, I'll put $3 on this defense and I'll get them because they're not going to put any money. Because for some reason in the past, people were like, I'm not putting money on a defense. Now you got MFers putting $30 down for someone, and I'm like, bro, come on.
What are we doing out here? Right. That's crazy. That is crazy.
I'm not bitter. I'm not. I'm just merely pointing out an observation.
No, you're not mad about it. Not mad about it. No, not at all. Indeed, but I get it. So yeah, I struck out on the Colts, but I got the Chiefs, and I got about 10 to 12 points for my troubles. So I'm not mad. I still like to keep one good defense in the tuck. Like I think Seattle defense. I said early on in the pod that they were the best scoring defense for fantasy this year, and I got them in the tuck, but they were on a bye week. So I ended up with the Chiefs defense and still panned out. So hey, I'm not mad.
Absolutely,
not mad. All right, so the kickers, we got Chris Boswell with 20 points, although they got, dog walked in the second half of their game. He ended up with 20 points. Chauncey McLaughlin with 17 from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cameron Dicker being Mr. Consistent, loving him. 15 points from him, third place. Kaim Fairbairn, he's in Texas, actually had a good game for a change. So they had some scoring going on in their game. He came through with 14. And Tyler Loop for the Ravens came through with 13. And I think they lost that game, though, didn't they? Even though he had 13 points. Yeah.
No, they won. They
did win. That's right. They did win.
They beat the Bears, yeah.
The Bears.
The
Bears.
Yeah,
all right, so there's your
back down to earth for them a little bit.
I know. It's bad. It's really bad. Yeah. But so getting back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier about the good and bad, the yin and the yang, the cause and effects. So you got, some good people in fantasy football, and then you got some bad. Some people just make you want to say,
"You're killing me, Smalls."
You're killing me, Smalls. So who are the worst performers of the week? The guys that want to make you put the paper bag over your head. And there's some repeat offenders on this list, and they might be on the list all year, but we gotta talk about it. Gotta talk about it. So for starters, my goodness, the top of worst performers of week 8 The quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, the best of the worst, coming through with 12-8. Carson Wentz, and it really pained me to put him on this list because we talked about this
Say,
last
man,
night.
he got done dirty.
He really did. We talked about this the last night on the Lockdown Blitz, and I talked about this on Electric Chuck Pod. I really feel bad for how he got done. So it hurt me and pained me to put a starting quarterback on this list with his performance, but he was second with 8.8. Dak Prescott, who we've been high on for the last several weeks, from a fantasy perspective, he laid an egg with 8.6. And Baker Mayfield, another one, MVP candidate we're talking about a couple of weeks ago, he came through with 4.1, which is wild. And then the red water pistol, Andy Dalton with 2.1. So anybody that try to snag Andy Dalton, I think somebody snagged him in our redraft league.
For a lot. Yeah, the Dynasty, I think someone spent like $300 on him.
Right. And he gave you 2 points.
I mean, to be fair, I probably set that precedent with 500 for Browning, but
you did. But hey, you get what you get, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So yeah, they have that. So those are the worst quarterbacks of the week. Alvin Kamara, who a lot of people were high on going into the season, he came through with 5.5. It was just brutal performance. I think there's a really indicative of them losing their center. Eric McCoy went out for the year last week, and they can't seem to run the ball anymore. And then Ramondre Stevenson, who we just don't understand. It's just like he had 5.4 points. Now, granted, they won the game, but still, they don't give Trayvon Henderson the ball. Ramondre Stevenson, is unproductive in a lot of cases. He fumbles, but we still won't give Trayvon Henderson the ball. And I will argue, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. He's hurt now. They broke news this morning or this afternoon that he has turf toe potentially. So they probably still won't give Trayvon Henderson the ball, even though he's hurt now. Gibson's on the IR. He's hurt, and he probably still will give it to the third string guy. But I'm not going to cry about it. Too bad.
Yeah.
But 5.4 from Ramondre. Bijan, my God, 4.3. They just laid an egg in general for that game. I don't know what they were doing. It might be Kirk Cousins' effect. I don't know. But Bijan had a bad game, 4.3. Bill Krosky, I'm going to call him Jacory because he's no longer Bill to me.
Yeah.
He don't
who?
Yeah. So JCM, it's just 2.5. And then Jordan Mason with 1.1, being the lead dog, although Aaron Jones did come back, but neither one of them did anything in the Minnesota game. So, against the Chargers on Thursday night. So, that was brutal. That was brutal to say the least. So, those are running backs and quarterbacks that did you dirty this week if you had them in your lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, and then for receivers, we have a few repeat offenders, like you said, and one kind of uncharacteristic performance for how but I will say probably indicative of his quarterback a little bit. But the best of the worst was Juwan Jennings with 6.5. It was just really a brutal day overall for the 49ers offense.
It was.
So wipe the slate. Is one time the Texans look solid across the board.
How about that?
So is what it is. Emeka Ibuka, who's like the uncharacteristic one I was alluding to. I mean, he's been on our top performers list quite a bit already for it being, just week 8, and he had 5 points. But again, Baker had 4.1. He can only do so much.
True.
Darius Slayton back in the mix. He only had 3.6. It was just kind of a weird game for the Giants once Scadaboo went down. It just seemed kind of unfortunate for him. Yeah, man. That can happen, especially when everyone sees something as gruesome as that is.
You're just not focusing anymore.
Yeah, and then DeAndre Hopkins, at least he's making a list. I kind of forgot he was still around. With one point, Buddy caught a touchdown week 1, and then just kind of said, "All right, I'll see you. Thanks for my check. I still got it." But he had 1.9, and Matthew Golden, first round pick for Green Bay, just doesn't seem to be able to catch on this year. He's continuing on. I think this is one of his worst performances, 1.9, and probably a sign of things to come for the future with Christian Watson coming back.
That might be it. As long as Christian Watson healthy in the lineup, he's probably going to vulture his targets.
Yeah. It's like I said on our Tuesday sleepers. I mean, Watson pretty much showed as long as he's healthy, they're going to use him. Why? I don't know. But
I don't get it either. But hey,
before it's got it figured out. So that's our receivers. And then, for tight end, for it being National Tight End Day, we did have some duds. I will note the absolute worst one was Jake Ferguson with the big fat 0.
Oh,
But
not even make the list.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's but Broncos defense will do that. It's from
Yeah.
time to time. So yeah, TJ Hawkinson was TJ and Ertz were the best of the worst, 3.6 apiece.
Mhm.
Ertz, I think we'll probably start to see a little bit of an uptick now because Daniels is back, but tough. Theo Johnson had one solid week and then just kind of filtered back into non-existence. He had 3.5.
Right.
Dalton Schultz, even for being a good game for the Texans, he still couldn't get involved, 3.4. And then Kincaid, who kind of started the season hot, has been fizzling out here lately. He had 2.8.
Yeah, talk about brutal week for tight ends for me. I got Hawkinson and Kincaid on with one team, and neither one of them did anything.
Yeah, it's like
I played Hawkinson thinking because Kincaid was hurt from an oblique injury, and I was like, I gotta play Hawkinson on Thursday because I don't want to have a situation with Kincaid being out 2 weeks in a
right.
row. So I played him, and both of them did horrible. Cool Cat, what's going on, good brother? How you feeling? Yeah, man. So I was just doomed, but luckily I still got a dub in that league without that production.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, I'll try to remember to do the kickers and defense this time. Week 8 was a negative week for defenses in general. The Cowboys were -2, the Panthers -2, Jets -3, Steelers -4, Bengals -4. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with any of those teams because all these teams outside of the Bengals have really good players on defense, and they cannot stop a cold with antibiotics. That's just bad, man. It's just bad. I just can't do it.
Don't the Steelers have one of the more expensive defenses?
The most expensive defense in the league by far. Like it's not even close. And he can't stop a cold with antibiotics, like I said. So I don't get it, but that's what it is. So they're bad. All of them are bad, and they have been bad all year. So if you have them on your team, consider better pastures. For sure. Kickers, one, Blake Groupie with New Orleans, he had 4. Joey Slide with 2. On the Tennessee Titans, Andre Schmithy. I don't know what that is.
Schmitz. I don't know.
Something like that. So he had 1 with Cleveland. Matthew Wright with 1, and Eddie Pinheiro with 1 as well. So yeah, it's better brutal week for those kickers for sure. Brutal week for those kickers. So yeah. So if you had any of y'all guys on those teams, might want to send them out to just get them out.
Send them to the farm.
Yeah, just send them to the farm. Send them out back. Let them wander into the patch.
Say here in the Ozarks, yeah. Take them out back.
Take them out back. There you go. There you go. So that was your worst performance of the week. So moving on down the line, let's talk about bye weeks real quick. So we are in week 9. So we got through Bye-Mageddon, which was 6 teams. Now we only got 4 this week. So we won't have any more than 4 or less for going forward. So rest easy on the bye weeks, but we do got teams that are on the bye weeks this week. The Browns, the Jets, the Eagles, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Baker Mayfield, Emeka Egbuka, Rashad White, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Nobody on the Jets. I'm not going to say anybody has any Jets on their fantasy team.
Yeah.
And
Judkins.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yep, that's it. And Christian Judkins.
Yeah.
So those guys will be on bye. So if you have one on your team, you got to move them out. So speaking of moving guys out, we're going to get to our next segment called the replacements, injury updates and roster moves. So we're going to give you a rundown of a long injury list of wide receivers that are out with injury, along with everybody else, and tell you who's injured, who's going to play, who's not. And then we're going to give you some options of who we think is going to be a good replacement for you to pick up in your waiver wires for either long-term or short-term. And we'll get to that. So we'll talk about who's hurt from a quarterback, running back, tight end, and wide receiver perspective, and who you can replace them with. So starting out with the quarterback. So Lamar Jackson's on the list, but he was listed as a full participant this week. And today, Tuesday and Wednesday, they play tomorrow night. So he's going to be a go. So he's probable in their game with his hamstring injury. Jaden Daniels, by all accounts, Dan Quinn said they feel like he's going to play. So we got that with his hamstring. So he's going to be back after 1 week out in his injuries. Hopefully he's healthy and they're not rushing him back because I got questions about that. But for now, he's questionable with a hamstring, but Dan Quinn says he's going to play. So you can have some faith in at least he'll be out there. Bryce Young practiced again today, and I think they gave him a doubtful tag on Monday, but I think with Andy Dalton coming up on the injury report now, they've somehow upgraded him to questionable
Yeah.
as of this afternoon. So I will monitor that. I'm assuming he's going to play, but I'm questioning about how quickly he's being rushed back from my ankle. It's just weird to me that JJ McCarthy, who's next on this list, was taking forever to come back from a high ankle sprain, and Bryce Young bounced back within 1 week because their backups hurt. I don't know, man. I think these coaches play some dirty pool with these quarterbacks, man. I really do. But that's a conversation for another day. But for fantasy purposes, it looks like Bryce Young's going to play. Jaden McCarthy, another one's going to look like he's going to play as well because Carson Wentz is done for the season with a fractured and torn labrum in his shoulder.
Crazy.
So yeah, he's done for the year. Michael Penix is questionable. Bone bruise in his knee, and actually his ankle and his knee. He's had problems with and when he got hurt 2 weeks ago. They said it's mainly the knee is the problem with the bone bruise. So he's questionable. I think that's a 50-50 chance, but we saw what Kirk Cousins looked like last week. So I mean, if he can play, if he can just stand there and throw the ball, they probably really roll with him. I'm thinking about it. Yeah. So then Brock Purdy, another one who's questionable, and I think he's on a downturn. I think they're going to keep rolling with Mac Jones. He's another one too. That turf toe injury, they rushed him back, and he got re-injured, and now he's can't seem to get back on the field. Weird. Kyler Murray, foot injury, he's questionable. I don't know, Alex. You got any more intel on that? I'm not sure. How do you feel? You think he's going to play, not play? They feel more comfortable with Jacoby Brissett? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like he's gonna play. And honestly, if I'm the Cardinals, this is my test for Murray. I mean, you're playing the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Everyone's been cooking the Cowboys.
That's
so
yeah.
If it's gonna happen, this is the game.
That's true.
But I haven't seen anything to indicate he's not playing.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't get much intel on that. I was just wondering because I mean Jacoby Brissett was serviceable while he was out. So do they roll with that? But yeah, so hopefully Kyler plays. Now Joe Flacco popped up on the injury report as well with AC joint issue, and I'm looking at it more of like a 40% chance he does play, 60% chance he doesn't. Because the AC joint problem is in his throwing shoulder.
Yeah.
So we might be looking at Jake Browning again this week, which makes me cringe having Jamar Chase as a fantasy owner of Jamar Chase. It makes me cringe.
Who knows, man? Maybe watching old man Flacco do it pissed him off.
I don't know.
I don't doubt it, but at all. I was just trying to be optimistic for you.
I don't trust Jake Browning at all. He can't drive me. You can't drive me in an Uber. That's how bad I don't trust him. So yeah, I don't trust him at all. So yeah, I'm definitely going to roll with if Joe Flacco's not starting, I'm scared for Jamar Chase and T Higgins. That's just me. But yeah, so those are your quarterback injuries. So now, Jesus, I'm just going to this here, man. CVS receipt of wide receivers that are hurt. Jesus Christ. Whew, that's bad. Yeah. Alex, help me out with this one, buddy, because this is a long list.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got. Do you think Puka plays this week? I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. No, he's. Everything I've seen, he's on track to play. And they kind of knew that. I think if they didn't have that bye, he would have been back last week. So I think they kind of were playing that. So everything looks good with Puka. Garrett Wilson, knee injury. I'm not sure what the status is on him. I feel like he's been banged up all year. So
yeah,
who knows if he goes out there. The Commanders just really down on their luck with Debo and Scary T. Debo is kind of a newer one with the foot injury. Terry McLaurin's had the quad thing for months at this point. I think you can describe it that way. And he's already been ruled out for their Sunday game. So, they got him back against the Chiefs. He caught a touchdown, and then he was out. And Debo, I haven't seen much because they did just play. So it's kind of, a little shorter or longer time for us to get an update on that when they start practicing again. Nico Collins, concussion. So you just got, with those, just matter of how they progress through the protocol. Some guys seem to do it insanely fast. Some are on there forever, but that's just, I can tell you my experience. You probably had like this too, Coach. It seemed like every preseason you do football, someone gets a concussion, then they're out for like 2 months. They just we always seem to have some like freshman to get hurt, and then he'd be like concussed for 3 months, and it's like, buddy, come on,
Right.
you're going to class. Like, hey, but whatever. Hey,
Right.
then you got Brian Thomas Jr. coming out of their bye with a shoulder injury, now
Yeah.
listed as questionable. It's just not looking good at any facet for Brian Thomas. But
Trade
you know,
rumors, all that good
trade
stuff.
rumors,
Yeah.
not producing, and never a good sign to come out of your bye with some sort of up in the air designation. So I don't think it's looking good for him
Mhm.
this week as well. And then Jacoby Myers, who's been trying to get out of Vegas,
Yeah.
now
Mhm.
might have just hurt himself to stay in there with knee and toe, just
Right.
missing the head and the shoulders, and he's got it. He's got it all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then Josh Downs, he's been banged up pretty much all season for the Colts as well, and he's similar concussion. It's just a matter of how he progresses through the protocol. So
Okay. All right. So Ricky Pearsall, man, he can't seem to get on the field either.
no,
Yeah, that's a brutal one. He hadn't been out there either. I think him and Brock Purdy are both on the same track. Like when you go, I'll go.
right?
I think that's what they're thinking. I'm waiting for Brock to come back. Until then, I'm not playing. So I have no faith in that just yet, and him making his debut. We'll wait and see, because I even argue this: if you have him on your team still for some reason, I would say that even when he plays, you want to give him a week or two to get ramped up and get acclimated to playing again, because he hadn't played, all year, up to this point. So yeah, he didn't do a whole lot of OTAs either because he got hurt in the preseason as well. So it's just bad omen for him right now. So I would stay away if you have better options. Josh Palmer, Bill's ankle, he's on the questionable list, but even when he hasn't been on the injury list, he hadn't been productive. So there's that. Calvin Austin popped up on there with a shoulder from the Steelers as well. He's questionable, but he did play last week. I would like to believe, unless he has a setback, he should be out there. Same thing with Darius Slayton. I think he'll be out there as well. He played last week, but he did have a hamstring tweak for a couple of weeks now. So those are always tricky. But unless he had a setback from the game, which I don't think he did, he should be okay. But although that Daltavian Wicks, they're waiting for him to come back with his calf injury, but those are tricky too, because you don't want to rush them back too early, and that could become a more serious one. So I think they'll err on the side of caution, especially with getting Christian Watson back. And Christian Kirk, I don't have a lot of faith in this either. He can't seem to get on the field either with his hamstring. That's been lingering. He can't seem to get on the field. He might have played one game this year. So there's that. But yeah, so you got that, and then Chris Godwin, another one, hasn't gotten the field yet at all either. So I don't have a lot of faith in that option either. So I will wait on that if I could. But yeah, so there's that, and then you have Calvin Ridley, another one who's questionable. But I think Calvin Ridley just don't want to play for the Titans. They're just that bad.
Yeah,
They're just bad. So I'm not gonna rush myself out there when they're not doing well, playing well anyway. So so I think he's milking it, for lack of a better term, for the sake of who I'm playing with. Then Drake London, the Falcons, he popped up injury report late last week. Him and Penix with a hip, so we should monitor that. I think he's a 50-50 start right now. Marvin Mims popped up with a concussion, so he's in protocol. So just monitor whether or not he does practice at all. If he does practice at all, he should be fine. If he does not practice at all this week, I would sit him out. Same thing with Luther Burden, another concussion in the game. So if he does practice at all this week, kind of leans towards he might play. If not, then I would sit him out. And of course, Mike Evans dropped out last week with a collarbone, so he's completely out until December at least. So hopefully the Buccaneers, keep it afloat, keep things rolling. They can get into the playoffs, and maybe he'll come back by playoff time. But it doesn't help for fantasy purposes, because by the time that's all said and done, the fantasy football season will be over. So
yeah, right.
yeah, so there's that. Yeah, but yeah, those are long laundries of wide receivers, so we can get through the other list pretty quick because there's not as many. So we got running backs. We got Bucky Irvin, who's out still, doubtful to return still. We saw Cam Scatterbull get hurt. Obviously, he's on IR. He's done for the season, which is unfortunate for him. He's had a really good season. Feel bad for the guy. Hope he can bounce back. Don't have any problems or any complications with his surgery and his recovery, and he can get back on the field, because he was doing really good for the Giants. And not only the fact that he was doing good, he was really good for the culture there. I think he was uplifting the team, him and Jackson Dart. So yeah,
100%.
you like to see things like that. As a football player, you like to see things like that, man. So you hate to see guys get hurt, when they're involved in that. So, and as we talked about earlier, Isaiah Pacheco, I spelled his name proper, Isaiah. He actually doesn't spell it that way. I noticed that before the show.
Yeah.
But Isaiah Pacheco with a knee, he's MCL sprain, so he's week to week in that space. I would like to argue he's not going to play this week, especially with Kareem Hunt and Rashad Smith already there. So yeah, then you got Saquon with undisclosed issue. I think he had a hamstring groin issue. Yeah. So but they're on a bye. So just kind of monitor it. Hopefully he can bounce back and no problems. He was walking fine and doing all the good jazz when he was at the end of the game. So you look like he's gonna be okay. But me having insurance because of the Madden curse and all this other stuff he had going on, I think that Will Shipley and Bixby as handcuffs in that dynasty league. So I'll be good regardless. But I'm hoping Saquon comes back for sure. But round these tight ends up, Alex. Wrap these tight ends up real quick.
Yeah, so we got Dalton Kincaid, who you kind of mentioned earlier. He had, he's had a questionable tag for a few weeks now with an oblique, but I think he is fully practicing now, and all signs good to go for this Chiefs matchup on Thursday late afternoon. Which I was kind of shocked it wasn't a primetime game, but hey, whatever. David Njoku, he questionable. Ultimately, did play in their Week 8 game. They are on a bye Week 9, so I think he's probably going to be fine coming out of the bye. Brock Bowers, I'm sure Cool Kev loves this, but he was full participant today in practice, so I think he's finally ramped up and ready to go for Week 9 against the Jaguars. Darren Waller, as everyone knows, 2 weeks ago, tore his pec. He's on the IR. I think
Slater's to return though. Yeah, Slater's to return though. Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, but it's guy came out of retirement and he's been hurt like 3 different times already. So it's like
this is facts.
I wouldn't hold out much hope that he's gonna be your savior at tight end.
Right. Especially by the time you think the Dolphins are likely to be out of everything. Yeah.
If not already, But Cole Kmet, he injured his back in Week 7. Didn't play this last week, and it kind of was the emergence of Colson leveling a little bit. But as far as he returned to practice today, so I think he's going to get back into the fold, whatever that means. And Daniel Bellinger, I think, is kind of in the same boat. He had a big week a couple weeks ago. Actually, no, he did not practice today. I was looking at the wrong part. So yeah, Bellinger still not practicing with his neck injury. So it's not, I would say, probably not looking too good with something like that because those can linger forever.
Yeah, those definitely tricky injuries, and you don't know how it's going to lean one way or the other. So you got to be careful with that for sure. But we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, so hopefully it's the D.L. Johnson show by now, with Daniel Bellinger being out, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we will see. All right, so we get through the players that are injured finally, that long list, through 8 weeks of football. My God. So let's talk about who we think is going to be good replacements for these guys, either short term or long term. Quarterbacks, we think Sam Darnold, who's only rostered at 27% of leagues throughout the fantasy stratosphere. He's a good good addition. He's coming back off a bye. JJ McCarthy, although I'm not doing it personally. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm only doing it because I have to.
I get it. I get it.
I feel you.
But Sam Darnold's my super flex is coming back this week. So I'm gonna leave Sam Darnold and I'm not touching JJ. I think it's just bad omen and juju around him in general.
Yeah, the whole team.
Yeah, the whole team. So I'm staying away. But he is an option if you're desperate. 23% roster throughout the fantasy stratosphere. And Tua Tagovailoa still a viable option. And he actually played good in his last game. So he's a viable option because we got, as we see, the streets is getting bare. The tumbleweeds are starting to roll through, and there's not a whole lot of options here. So if you need a quarterback, just for a bye week or whatever the case may be, these are guys that could be added. They could get you some points for at least 1 week, and then you can go back to your normal starters. So we'll see how things roll. But running backs, of course, the most hot button and highly targeted guy this week is going to be Tyrone Tracy Jr. For the Giants because he's going to be the starter now that Cam Scatterble's gone. 42% rostered before the waivers hit today and tomorrow. Kyle Monangai, who Alex dropped in earlier in this week, is a potential sleeper because his target share, to his point, was growing with him and DeAndre Swift in their particular running back tandem. Of course, we know that Ben Johnson loves that tandem running back group. So he's getting to that point where he's getting to sharing how he shared with Montgomery and Gibbs in Detroit. So keep Kyle Monangai in your pocket if you can. So I think he'll be a good add. And Tajay Spears seemed to be doing pretty well. He's kind of getting folded back in, after coming back from injury, and he seemed to be doing pretty well. more productive than their starter, ironically, in certain aspects of it. So he's only rostered in 40% of the league, 41% of the league. So he's a good ad as well. I'm not sure exactly how good the team is overall, but
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
but if you're desperate, if you need a running back and you have no better options, then why not? Take a gander, take a spin on them, see what you get. But yeah, so those are your running backs and quarterbacks. What we got for wide receiver and tight ends, Alex?
Yeah, and I would just add a couple other running backs. I would put Brashard Smith. I think I listed him on
Yes,
Tuesday, especially
yeah.
with the probably out status of Pacheco. I think
Mhm.
Brashard could be a good ad. And if he is still out there, Bam Knight, you'll
Yeah,
get at least one or two more weeks with him, with Benson Lumen on the IR. But they did just cut Michael Carter and then sign him to the practice squad. So I think that very clearly shows you who the RB1 is.
that's
What we got
facts.
here?
That's facts. All right, so hey guys, traded Derrick Henry, Tyler Warren, and Buka and Swift for Bijan, JSN, Debo, and K9. Making my team: Daniel Jones, Gibbs, JSN, London, K9, Debo. Bench: Flacco, Hampton, Dobbins, Hunter, Garrett Wilson. Did I save my 5-3 season? Uh, hard to say you didn't. Um, Yeah, because Derrick Henry's floundering. Tyler Warren is a stud, and so is Ibuka. But
You got Bijan, and you got the two
Bijan
of the
Jet,
very dominant
yeah,
receiver running backs right now.
right,
Debo, I'm a little meh about,
yeah, I am
and
too.
I guess just stick around for later in the show. But two of these guys are well, one
Yeah,
of them I got
right,
on the list,
yeah,
but no, I think if I swap, you got Bijan and JSN. I think that's enough right there, in
yeah. I
my
think they're gonna be
opinion.
more productive than what Swift and Derrick Henry gonna give you at this point.
Who's
Because
your other tight end, though?
that's a
Is
good
the
question.
question.
That's a good question. He said Jaden Daniels, not Daniel Jones. So that's good. That's still good.
That's even better. Yeah.
Either one are good right now because can't argue that. For sure. Oh,
Kittle? Oh,
good.
okay.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
let's
good.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good.
That's a
Yeah,
pretty
you're good.
salty little swap there.
Yeah. Pretty savvy there, buddy. Yeah, pretty savvy. I like that. I like those moves. Definitely did. So 5-3. You still in contention, obviously 5-3. So I think you should be trending up at this point with those additions for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I would have wanted to dump Derrick Henry because I don't know what's going on with him.
It's
But yeah,
it's
maybe
crazy.
that decline is finally happening. I don't know, but they're not using him or he's just not productive. But I would definitely trading him for Bijan alone is a win for
Yeah,
sure. And Jason, for all intents and purposes, he's been even more productive than Ibuka, although they're both Ohio
and
State.
they already had their bye,
Right.
so
That's another thing. So
you're
yeah, they
good
got that.
there.
Ibuka's on his buy. So yeah, you got
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
London. I mean, he bona fide wide receiver one.
Oh
So
yeah. You can
are
get the
you? Oh,
targets.
you
Sure.
have him already. Never mind. I thought you traded for him.
Yeah. No, you got London. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like the move. I think you
Yeah.
did. I wouldn't say you had to save your 5-3 season, but I think you helped kickstart
Yeah, to
your
push the
push for the
playoffs.
playoffs for
And
sure.
hopefully it's title with that lineup. Yeah, and why not?
Yeah,
Why not? I like it.
absolutely. So yeah, the wide receivers we have for replacements, we still got Kayshawn Booty. That booty likes to hang around, but he's had a very up and down year, But when he balls, he balls. And
Yeah,
he's
he
coming
does.
off a pretty big week, so he's still out in about what 25% of leagues. So
Yeah,
if you got space, I'd take a shot on him because
yeah,
Drake May's slinging it, and he seems to be spreading it around. So it's a little bit of a crapshoot, but at least he got what's a prolific offense at the moment.
for
Troy
sure.
Franklin's coming off probably his best week against the Cowboys, so it's a little bit skewed, but
Yeah,
he's kind of like Booty. He's had up and down games, but I think I noted him on my Tuesday sleeper list. I mean, I think there's a lot to be said that he's playing with his college QB and
that
he's
part. Yep.
continuing to build this rapport. And I think at some point, like he's going to be I mean, he's already a pretty big part, but he's going to be an even bigger part for their offense if they can remain consistent, which they really haven't been up to this point. And then Alec Pierce, another guy I noted because they do. I mean, Indiana Jones, man, he takes deep shots with Alec Pierce, and he stays involved, especially with Josh Downs going down. Tyler Warren helps open things up, and they very much. I mean, I it's probably two to four times a game they try to take some deep shots to Alec Pierce.
They
So
do. They do.
that possibilities are there. And then with tight ends, we got AJ Barner, coming off his bye. He was a tight end machine up to that point. We'll see
He
if he
was.
can continue that coming out of there. Colson Loveland, like we mentioned, was benefiting a little bit from Cole Kmet being out, who is back to practicing, so you might want to monitor that. But I mean, it never hurts to get in on a Ben Johnson offense that's ever evolving and growing,
Why not?
as they're
Why
going.
not?
And then
Yeah.
Mason Taylor was my tight end dad of the week. He's kind of been slowly but surely building more and more involvement, whether it's Tyrod or Justin Fields or Brees Hall throwing to him. He's going to be productive because really there's not much else out there to
Hmm.
compete with for targets and looks in that offense. So
Indeed. Okay. All right, so there's your replacements for the week. So hopefully these guys can be added to your roster if you need some fill-ins for this week for buys or injuries or whatever have you. There's a lot going on in this week. We covered a lot just in this segment alone. So yeah, fill those injuries in, fill those bye week components in, and get you another victory for week 9, man, and keep it on rolling. Keep
yes,
it on
sir.
rolling. All right, so let's get into that rolling segment of the week. Let's talk about the panic room. So who do we push the button on this week and getting into week 9 and we actually passed the halfway mark of the fantasy season? Who are we panicking on? Who are we pushing the button on? Who are we getting rid of? Who are we thinking at this point, no matter where you're drafting him, high or low, he's just not doing what he needs to do from a fantasy perspective. So we got a list here of some guys from our both our perspectives. So right off the bat, quarterbacks, with his injury and his up and down Jekyll and Hyde like play, Michael Penix Jr. for me, man. I love the kid coming out of college, man. But listen, I just can't trust him. If I got a better quarterback, if I got Sam Darnold, Justin Herbert, I got Patrick Mahomes, even CJ Stroud at this point, Jaden Daniels come back off injury. If I got any of those guys, I'm definitely moving on from Michael Penix. Even if he was just a bye week filling quarterback, I would look for somebody else that we listed. Hell, I even might take I ain't gonna say I ain't go as far as JJ McCarthy, but I would definitely say it's getting close though. Yeah, it's getting rough. It's getting rough. So yeah, I think that Michael Penix was a guy I'm moving off of at this point, based upon his like I said, production or lack thereof, for sure. And AG's got one on here too. I would say if Penix is one for me, this guy he got his number 2. So tell us about it.
Yeah, man, this one kind of hurts because I was a big
No,
believer in Caleb Williams. I
yeah, we both.
thankfully didn't take him in too many leagues, but I think I got him in 2, and
Yeah,
at least I had some good insurance backup policies with it. But
right,
but
right,
yeah, Caleb Williams, currently is QB 15, but I think that's a little skewed from he had a pretty strong start to the year. If you look at since week 4, he's averaged under 13 fantasy points a game and his QB 30. And, schedule only gets harder from here. They got the Steelers, Eagles, Browns, and Packers twice in peak playoff, weeks. So
right,
I think Caleb Williams is merely a streamer at this point, which, like I said, really, really pains me to say for a couple of my teams. But
right.
you got to call a spade at some point,
That you do. That you do. And a guy we've been very high on and just been a real big time disappointment, and maybe not of his own volition. Like I think some reason something's going on in there with McDaniels in that offense. He just don't want to throw the running backs or use his most talented one. But Trayvon Henderson, at this point, man, I've had him on my team for all the season. I started him a little bit, got nothing, and he's still on the bench doing nothing. So if you have to, move off of him before it gets too crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think you can trade him at this point because he hadn't been doing much. But even with Ramondre hurt, I'm going to give him one more week. But if he doesn't do anything by this week, even with Ramondre being hurt, we just know for some reason McDaniels just don't love the kid. And I don't get it because they drafted him and drafted him pretty high. So I don't get the idea of not using him, but they don't want to use him like they need to be using him. So he's relegated to kick returner at this point. So that should tell you all you need to know from a fantasy perspective of how much he's not being used. Let's just
Right.
put it that way. Yep.
Yeah, and I think that someone dropped him in our redraft league. I mean,
He
he did
did.
get picked back up, but I
Right.
even thought about it, and I was like, "What am I doing?" Like,
I
come on.
said the same thing. I was like,
Like, I
no.
already got him in another league. Like, what are we
Right.
doing?
Exactly. Oh, got another question. Landy.
It's the same
Landy,
one.
is the same one?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
that's
bro.
funny.
That's,
That's
they
trolling.
just didn't. They just didn't ask if
Copy
they
paste.
saved their season, but
Oh,
yeah.
that's funny. That's funny.
Landy. I only had to read 3 words of that, and I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the same ish, bro."
Yeah, exactly.
Already addressed it.
Right.
But I guess if you want to talk about it again, Kenneth Walker the third, I'm not very high on him. I'm hitting the panic button on that. So if you did trade for him, Landy, I'm sorry,
Mm,
because you look at past 3 weeks, he hasn't scored better than 9.4 points. So that's not what you want out of someone you took early to be an RB1. He's splitting more and more carries with Charbonnet every week. I know they're coming out of their bye, so maybe things can be different, but I don't see the writing on it doesn't seem to be good on the wall, and he hasn't scored a touchdown since week 3. So I think Kenneth Walker's a low end RB2, RB3 for the rest of the season. Unfortunately,
indeed, indeed, indeed. I definitely share that sentiment. I might be looking at Zach Charbonnet as being more the guy in that space, but we'll see. But yeah,
yeah,
it seems like they want to throw the ball a little bit more than they did in past years with Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet. They're getting Jackson really involved, and he's the man. He's a golden goose on that roster. So yeah, Ken Walker might be the odd man out for sure. But speaking of wide receivers, Matthew Golden. We talked about a little bit earlier with Christian Watson coming back and him getting vultured. Hadn't been highly productive as of yet. I was just kind of waiting for him to break out. But I think that Matthew Golden with Christian Watson coming back, you got Jaden Reed still coming back as well. Fabian Wicks coming back. It just might be too many roosters in the hen house at this point.
hmm
Where you can depend on him week in and week out to be able to be productive. So I'm panicking on Matthew Golden for sure. If I got better options on my roster, I'm going to go sit him on the bench or trade him. I wouldn't say drop him just yet, but I would definitely, look him as a fringe starter and definitely not a week to week starter for sure.
yeah. I mean, you don't feel good about it.
I don't. I love Matthew Golden. I love him coming out of college. I argued that the Chargers should take him in the first round, but they went Hampton instead to pick before that. Kind of had to because Hampton was kind of fell to him.
Yeah,
Especially with a run heavy team. But I would argue that they should have went after Golden if Hampton wasn't available. But yeah, so I definitely think that Golden it's gonna take a while. Maybe it's
yeah.
gonna take a while. I'm not sure.
No, for sure. Yeah, then mine is maybe a guy you could probably I don't know. I did give a buddy the advice the other day that he did trade Brian Thomas. Well, he had a deal involving Brian Thomas Jr. to get Nico Collins, and I was like, yeah, I'd do that because
Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr. is a guy that you took. I mean, depending on your league size, first round, second round.
Hmm.
And he's just, not producing. He is dealing with a shoulder injury at the moment, like we talked about. He's just been consistently having poor performances, very sporadic target volume. And, I just think there's just really serious. I mean, we haven't been shown anything this year to make you think things are going to get better for them
Yeah.
in that offense.
Right.
And it's, if you can move on from him, I would. If you got to ride out the storm, hope you got some spicy waiver pickups.
Right. There you go. Landy said might trade K9 and Wilson for either Flowers or Adams. I would go Adams before Flowers.
Yeah.
I mean, I would wait a week to see what Zay Flowers does with Lamar back in the lineup, but I have more confidence in Devontae Adams than I do Zay Flowers in that offense right now because we just don't know. If he had to pull a trigger right now, but I definitely would see what Zay Flowers does this week before I pull a trigger on him over Devontae Adams for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I carry the same
Yeah.
sentiment. I'd also argue you might be able to get someone a little better
Yeah.
for
Hopefully.
giving up you know,
You get
someone
him
that
Garrett
doesn't watch
Wilson
the
again.
show. They might like Kenneth Walker. Who
They
knows? But
might. They just might. They just might. Maybe if you can package K9 and Garrett Wilson up, you should be able to get something better than that. That's for sure.
yeah. Oh, I get you. Yeah, if you're looking at one guy's roster, I'd go Devontae over Flowers right
Yeah, for
now.
sure. Yeah, for sure.
But you also could wait,
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah, give it a week if you can. If you don't have to pull the trigger right now, but yeah, I definitely value Adams over Flowers at this moment for sure. All right, so tight ends, we get through this particular segment. The Coastal Loveland gives me pause. Not only the fact that Cole Kmet was hurt and he still didn't do great. Didn't set the world on fire. And I think that with Caleb Williams' inconsistency, who's on your list, obviously, his inconsistency and the fact that they don't target tight ends and they have two
Yeah.
good ones bothers me. So I mean, clearly the tight end position is really feast or famine. Like you got a really good one. You got if you got a top 5 tight end, you're good. Everybody else is just week to week. You don't know what they're going to do. So Coastal Loveland is your main guy. I would look to go get AJ Barner or somebody like that to kind of fill in and be more productive for you. In all honesty, because I just don't like what Coastal Loveland is doing, and it's ironic to me because he was really highly touted coming out of
First
college.
round
So,
pick.
Yeah, first round pick, and he's not. I mean, look at Tyler Warren's production, and look at his. It's night and day. It's night
Yeah,
and day. So I'm
it's
very,
crazy.
I'm very panicky on Coastal Loving as being my tight end until carry me to the playoffs for sure. Not feeling
Yep.
that at all. Yep.
Yeah, and then mine, might be a little bit of a spicier one because Dallas Goddard is currently tied in 5 in fantasy,
Mhm.
but I think he went on a little bit of a hot streak that was fueled by touchdowns. He scored 2 in one game.
Yeah.
That really fluctuates the numbers, but the underlying usage is pretty poor when you get down into the target share, the targets per game, and like how they use him. It just his output fantasy wise is not sustainable because
Mhm.
he's not going to score a touchdown every week. So you look at
That's
every
that.
game he's played in, he has not gone past 45 receiving yards, or I mean every game but one. And so I mean it literally his ranking right now is propped up by the touchdowns he scored. So I think with him being on a bye, you still have time to potentially try to move on from him,
Right.
trade him somewhere because he hasn't had a poor performance yet. So someone's looking at thinking they're getting, tied in 5 coming off their bye and got him for the rest of the year, where his usage is not sustainable with how he's ranked right now in fantasy. So you look
Mhm.
at that, and then Devontae Smith's getting back to being fully healthy. AJ Brown's going to be fully healthy. Like the usage is only going to go down more. So
Agreed. Agreed for sure. I like it. I like it. Okay. All right, so those are your panic players for us. Michael Penix, Caleb Williams, Trevion Henderson, Kenneth Walker, Matthew Golden, Brian Thomas, Colson Levin, and Dallas Goedert. We all believe that they're not sustainable elements and or guys that we feel like is going to carry you to that fantasy gold. So yeah, if you got greener pastures, please find them and find them now. Use them now because it is
sell,
not.
sell, sell.
There you go. Sell and sell high. That's for sure. All right. All right. So moving on down the line, let's talk about games of the week real quick. Let's get into that. So we got some interesting matchups here in regards to what's the weekly matchups going to be shaking out here for week 9. Starting off with the Baltimore Ravens going against the Dolphins this week. So from your perspective, Alex, from a game of the week perspective, how do you feel about any of these games? Do they have any fantasy gold tags written all over them? Either from one side or both. As one guy, you got some shootouts listed here. You think it's going to be good fantasy points coming out of any of these matchups this week? What do you think?
I don't know why, and maybe it's just because up to this point, a lot of these games have seemed to be shootouts. But I feel like this Thursday night game is going to be a weird shootout.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Because Tua's coming. I mean, they had a decent game against Atlanta. Lamar's going to be back. I can
Mhm.
see it being that way just because Thursday night games all this year have been like ridiculously scoring. So
Right.
I can see that one. Because I mean, frankly, looking at the slate, there's a lot of there's like really good. There's either really like elite matchups or like really one-sided ones, in
Right.
my
Right.
opinion. So I
Mhm.
think just kind of looking at the slate, that seems to have the one because really Ravens defense has only had one good week. It was last week, and who knows, that could have just been Caleb Williams being an idiot or like not throwing the ball correctly. And
Right.
not to say Tua's not an idiot himself, but
Um,
they did just look kind of decent against Atlanta. So, I don't know. The short week always it seems to stir something in the water when it comes to a defensive type game. So that's
yeah, that's a good
definitely
point.
one.
That's a good point. So yeah, I definitely believe the Ravens should score points, but the question of what the Dolphins going to do. Because there's, again, it's in Miami. It should be warm weather Thursday night, so you would like to believe the conditions are prime for them to score points. So you might be onto something there. I might be riding with you on that one. That's a good
What
one.
is happening in Salt Lake? I'm
Hey,
just
with your wit horse call, I like that. I like that. Okay. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen with this Bears Bengals game, especially with with Joe Flacco's up in the air in this,
yeah.
1 o'clock game Sunday. I'm not sure. You would like to believe the Bears should score points, but that again, we're talking about Caleb and his up and down play, his Jekyll and Hyde nature. Just don't know what you're gonna get. Yeah, that's a weird one. That not touching this Vikings Lions game at all. I mean, I would trust some the Lions. I would bet on, not betting on the Vikings at all. Bad juju over there. That Packers and Panthers game seems spicy though. I ain't gonna lie. Bryce plays. That could be a
It
point
could be.
getter.
It could
That
be because
could be a point
they
getter.
could just get embarrassed against the Bills,
Right. That's my point. Him coming back out of a bad loss, pissed off, and the Packers are playing well, so it could be a good one. It could be a good one. Yeah. I'm not touching this Broncos Texas game. That's gonna be a low scoring
That's
slobber
yeah.
knocker.
That's gonna be 6-3.
Right. Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
both QBs are gonna play bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach, I'll say this one just so you don't seem so biased, with your hat and everything. But I'm
Okay.
starting any and all Charger players against the Titans. Like, come on.
Provided with dog
Yeah.
lad, OG, Orlando Gaskin. Yeah, start them all. Justin Herbert, start them all. Yes,
Yes.
indeed. Not mad at that at all. I'm starting a lot of Patriots too. I'm starting Drake May, if nothing else.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons and Foxborough. Yeah. I'm starting Patriots big time in that game.
And
If Kirk Cousins plays, I'm definitely
yeah,
starting.
100%. Yeah. Drake May is gonna get like 4 extra possessions if Kirk Cousins
That
plays.
part. That part. Exactly.
You love that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm feeling good about a lot of Colts players too against
I
the
was going to say
Steelers.
the same thing. I think the Steelers defenses can be had for
Until
sure.
Indiana Jones reverts back to Daniel Jones, you gotta have
Right.
some faith in him. And Jonathan Taylor is
A dog.
rumbling right now. So yeah.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. I like it. I like it. Yeah, the Rams put up a lot of points against the Saints at home. Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
Love that. Don't know I'm not touching the Jaguars Raiders game with a 10-foot pole. Not doing it. Let me ask you this question though. Do you think the Chiefs Bills game gonna be shoot up?
I think it'll be. I think was my score prediction on my video on the Lockdown Defense Sport Network. Go check it out.
Sounds good.
It's 26-24, I believe, and they're usually pretty around there. Pretty
Okay.
low. I don't think they've gone. It's been over 30 points the last few. And it's this is traditionally a game the Bills have won. So
True.
I think it's going to be a hard fought, close one, come down to the wire as they usually do.
Right. I think they did spare you some weather by not making it prime time because Buffalo at night at this point is probably gonna be a little bit chilly.
That's
So
probably why.
yeah, it spares out a little bit of weather in that because there'll be some sun up. Although it is daylight savings time this weekend, so the clocks go back. So that might scare it. So it might be dark by 5, but yeah. But if at least from a temperature perspective, it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, I'm riding with a lot of Jackson Smith and Jigba in the Seattle game to wrap it up. I'm riding with that a lot too. Because that
yeah.
secondary was much maligned for sure. So yeah, there you have it, man. For your fantasy goal perspectives, those matchups are very juicy. So if you have any guys on those teams, I think you should be in good hands, like all states for sure. So speaking of good lineups, let's get into our last segment of the pod, perfect lineup. We give you our takes and our predictions on who will be the, I guess you can say, guaranteed or highly regarded
the
fantasy
cream of the
player.
crop.
The cream of the crop. I like that. The cream of the crop from a fantasy perspective. We give you a top to bottom lineup listing, kind of a best ball feel. Top to bottom list of who we think is going to be the perfect lineup at each position to fill out your whole entire fantasy roster. So starting off with me for week 9, I'm thinking Lamar Jackson is going to run all over the Dolphins defense in his return game. I'm loving that. So I'm taking Lamar Jackson to score a lot of points at quarterback. So if you have Lamar Jackson, by all means, start him and live well, live long and prosper.
He's going home too, so
that's another thing. That's another
loves
thing.
the ball out in Dade.
Indeed he does. Warm weather, the hamstring won't be affected. He should have a great game. We talked about earlier, Kamani Vidal against the Titans. I'm loving that matchup. Should run all over them in that space. The Giants giving up a lot of yards on the ground. I'm running with Christian McCaffrey in that game. I like that matchup. Talk about JSN going against the Commanders defense. Love that. So picking JSN as my wide receiver 1. Michael Pittman against the Steelers. I'm thinking that's going to be a good matchup. They got one good corner out there. So if he's not matching with that one good corner all game, he's going to eat. I'm doubling down on my Tucker Craft pick from last week. Panthers don't give up a lot of yards to tight ends. So I'm loving what Tucker Craft is going to do in that game. CeeDee Lamb against the Cardinals on Monday night. I think he'll feast on that secondary as well. And nothing else, get a lot of targets, a lot of yards from Dak Prescott. I'm going with Tyler Loop against the Dolphins from Ravens' perspective. I think he's been on our best performance list for a good while now in the last few weeks. So I think that'll continue. He's a good kicker to take this week. And of course, I'm taking the Chargers defense against the Titans. I think there are a lot of turmoil going on in Tennessee. So I think the Chargers will, especially playing their old coach, Mike McCoy, who's the interim coach. I think there's a lot of motivation to get back at that and get a good victory against the Titans in Tennessee this weekend. So that was my guys. So I think if you pick any of those guys, and from my perspective, you should have a good weekend. And then the real AG's got even more for you from his perspective. That guys that are alternates than from my
Some
had
spicier ones. Yeah. I'm
a
gonna
bit.
be honest. I did as you were going through yours, I didn't realize like, damn, I did like the opposite side of some of these.
You did.
But hey, it wasn't by design, I can tell you that. But yeah, first and foremost, QB for week 9, we got my man Jarake Maye
That's it.
going against ATL Falcons, who just got lit up by a one-eyed Tua. May had
Big guy
three.
bandit.
Yeah, the one-eyed bandit. Yeah, May had a 3-touchdown performance, against a pretty stout Cleveland defense. So, I think he does pretty good here in Week 9 against
Indeed.
Atlanta. RB1. We're gonna ride the hot hand with
Of course. Got
Jonathan
to.
Taylor on this
Got to.
ungodly tear that he is on, going
Uh-huh.
against the Steelers. Feel good about that. I got Josh Jacobs, who I think the Panthers are not going against the Panthers, but I think the Packers have been kind of load managing him a little bit with his what is it, quad injury. So I feel like he's finally getting fully healthy, playing a Panthers team that just got absolutely cooked by James Cook. So I think Josh Jacobs finds the end zone 1 or 2 times in this game for sure. What do we got here?
Do I trade Nico Collins and Chase Brown for CeeDee Lamb and Troy Franklin? I already have Ted McMillan and Emeka Ibuka.
Well,
So
who
you
are
would,
your other running backs?
that's a good question. So you would pair up CeeDee Lamb and Emeka Ibuka and Troy Franklin, and you would be giving away Nico Collins and Chase Brown. I'm good with it.
That's not a bad deal, but I just wanted
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming you got some other running backs you feel good about because you're kind of not getting anything back there. But
Chase Brown, yeah. But Chase Brown's so hit and miss. He had this week
he
was
had one good week. It's hot. It's hot
yeah,
right now.
yeah, that's it. One good week.
Yeah.
You know,
Brees Hall, Pollard, and Dowdle.
Dowdle.
Okay.
Not bad. And if Brees Hall gets traded to a better team, you're really in good shape with that. So I mean, it's not great from a running back perspective having Chase Brown, Brees Hall, or Pollard at this particular
But
point.
at the same time, I mean, you could potentially have, your 2 wide receivers and flex stacked up, and
True.
you're fine.
Yeah.
So if you feel good about it, distraction, I say pull the trigger.
Why not? Why not? You only live once, right?
That's a pretty good little pairing. I mean, pretty good little
I
group
love
of 4
the
receivers there.
Mecca pairing. Yeah, although
Yeah.
Mecca's on bye this week, having Ted McMillan as your flex, yeah, I'm loving that.
Yeah.
I'm loving that
That's
for sure.
good. But yeah, so back to my perfect lineup.
Yes, indeed.
We had Josh Jacobs. Like I said, I think he scores 1 or 2 times. This might be the spicy one. I know the coach is down on the bad juju, the bad aura of the Vikings. I'm going to embrace it. Why? Because Justin Jefferson is still on that team.
Yeah.
The only touchdown he has caught all year is with JJ. And I'm gonna hope that JJ comes out. They gave him time to get healed, maybe learn a little bit more, watch someone else process and play the offense. And I think he comes out and understands I have an all-world receiver. I need to freaking use him.
Yeah.
And I think that happens against the Lions, who are pretty banged up in the secondary, nonetheless. And then my wide receiver, too, maybe another spicier one. But we got DK Metcalf. Who, I'll wear my L. I think a few weeks ago, I said, let's sell high on DK, and he seems to just go out and score a freaking touchdown, every week in the Steelers offense. Does that happen? Is that going to happen all the time? Probably not, but it sure as hell seems like it.
Right.
And he is the bona fide red zone target for Aaron Rodgers. He's he's competing with tight ends or, Calvin Austin for targets. So, DK is going to be involved, and the Colts give up some points on defense, and so do the Steelers. So I think it's going to have to be somewhat of a shootout for them if they're going to be in the game. Which, I mean, they were in the game for the most part against the Packers. So I could see DK having a similar performance there. With my tight end, you took my man Tucker Kraft, so I had to pivot for a different one, and I'm going to go with Brock Bowers finally returning to the fold.
Healthy.
He's been out 8 weeks. He is the offense has not been great for them, and I think that they're going to use a fully healthy Brock Bowers to hopefully try to revive Geno a little bit, get the offense going, and against the Jags team, that could be there could be some mismatches there with
Great.
Bowers over the middle of the field. So I feel good about that one. My flex, you guys know, I will know this is the first week I have not stacked bundled in my perfect lineup.
That's true.
I felt dirty doing it, but we continued on my trend of just dumping on the Cowboys defense. And so we got my man Marvin Harrison Jr. as my flex going against the Dallas Cowboys. I say it every week. They just get absolutely roasted in the passing game. And every week they do not prove me wrong. So Monday night, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. finally has a little bit of a resurgence game from the season that he's had. Whether it be Kyler Murray, whether it be Jacoby Brissett, who the hell cares? Because he's going to cook whoever's trying to cover him with the star on their helmet. We got for defense, I got the Rams against the Saints. I don't give a hell if it's Rattler or Shuck or Show, whatever. It won't matter. The Rams generate sacks at the 4th highest rate, and they create pressure at the 6th highest rate. That is not a recipe for for the opposing QB to be successful. We just saw the Bucs defense get 29 defensive fantasy points against the Saints. I see the Rams having a similar day at home. And then my perfect kicker, we're going to go with Eddie Pinheiro. He is kicker 6 right now going against the Giants. Had a bad week last week, but it was a kind of a fluke offensive day for San Fran, and it was the first week he had not had a field goal attempt. But other than that, he has been pretty reliant, and I feel like Kyle Shanahan's just the type of coach that always seems to be kicking field goals. So I feel good about Pinheiro.
Yeah, a lot of points there. A lot of points to be had there for sure. So yes, if you have anybody in our perfect lineups for mine or AG's perspective, that you should do well in fantasy football this week. And this is spicy ones. And I'll tell you a quick story about DK Metcalf. After you kind of were out on him, I was like, I know this person watched the show, so I'm gonna see if they're listening deep on what AG said. So I tried to trade for him, and he wasn't going for it. I couldn't trade for him at all. He wasn't biting. So he didn't take your advice. He held firm and he kept DK, and he's been productive for him. So
I got him in one league too, and I was like, I'm not gonna trade him. But
right. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how DK rolls, but should have a good week this week if Aaron Rodgers is on his game. So yeah. All right.
I don't like either option. I'm gonna be all right, but I think it's a crapshoot either way. I think Mark Andrews is the guy only because Lamar's back.
Well, Lamar's back in warm weather game.
I don't feel good about it.
I feel dirty in this giving you this advice altogether. But if I had to, gun in my head, lightsaber to my neck, I gotta say that I gotta go Mark.
Lightsaber to my neck.
Gotta go Mark.
Don't have the helmet on, can't deflect it. I forget what it's called. You know what I'm talking from the show. People probably
Cortosis.
Yeah.
Cortosis, yes, indeed.
But yeah, I do not feel good about Juwan Johnson against
anybody.
Yeah, you are absolutely entitled. Hell, man. Juwan Johnson was so sick until like week 4, and then it was like going down, and then Taysom Hill came back, and then it's just like, what are we doing?
Oh, it's over. Honeymoon's over. Yeah, back to reality. Yeah, so if you got to do Mark Andrews, definitely. Yeah, been streaming all season. I bet you have. So Mark Andrews, it's your guy. Out of the worst, he's the best. Get this. I definitely agree that Mark Andrews is your guy for this week alone. But we talked about AJ Bonner and a few other guys in our show. If you want to rewind it, it's a few other guys that could be better options for you because AJ Brown has been a scoring machine. I'm really high on him. Mason Taylor has been an option for Justin Fields here lately, so that's something that you can look at if you can pick any of those guys up on the waiver. So, but if you got to roll with Mark Andrews, I would do that, but definitely not Juwan Johnson. I would not do it. Don't do it, Cecil.
One guy I would know too. I mean, it's kind of a deeper one, but one to monitor if you are in tight end hell, man. You look at Jatavion Sanders, who was picking up until he got hurt, and then when he came back, Bryce Young got hurt, and then he played this last week with Andy Dalton, and we saw how that went. But they might continue to build that rapport a little bit.
Yeah,
it could,
not a bad
could look good.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, Mason is my starter, but he's on the bye.
Yeah,
I have JSN, but so I don't want Barner. Good point. Yeah, if you got JSN, then you don't want to double down.
Put too many eggs in one basket, man.
That part took the words right out of my mouth for sure. Yeah, but so I would say that. So I'm trying to think. Let me go back and look at the list.
You could look at Zach Ertz too, because Jane Daniels is back. back in the and Ertz balls when Daniels is out there, and no scary T. So
that part. Yep. Okay. So yeah, there you have it. So if you can snag any of those guys, then yeah, why not? Why not? But yeah, that tight end position is a tricky one. I'm telling you, man, it's a tricky one. It's either feast or famine, like I said earlier. It's feast or famine. That is for sure. That is for sure. Okay. All right. So apropos, as he came through with a question, this is our point of this of the show where we can do Q&A. As we wrap the show up. If you got any questions here live right now, if you're watching this on YouTube or any of our platforms, drop your questions. We can get those answered in real time right now. But if you have any questions beyond that, hit us up on our social medias. We have all of our listings here. We're Lightning Fast FF on all platforms. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel if you can. Give us some love there. We love to grow this channel to higher heights, deeper depths.
Yes,
we're on
sir.
TikTok. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well. We even have a Gmail account. So if you need to hit us up in any facet or hit us up on our hotline, we have that number as well. I'll post that here. Is on top of that, our hotline number is 240-249-2220. Once again, 240-249-2220. So if you have any fantasy questions from a league perspective, you get any last minute details that you want to work out, hit us up. Give us any questions that you have, and once we drop this podcast offline. But again, hit us up on socials, hit us up at the hotline, and we'll be right there for you to get those questions answered for you. But any questions live, we'll hold for a few minutes to get those out. If not, we'll get you back to your regular lives. And be sure to check out the podcast channel this week. We drop content each and every day. We drop shorts Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We do a live show on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every other thing drops 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Lightning Fast FF YouTube channel. So, yeah, we got that rolling. We keep it going, and we're going to keep getting to that fantasy goal, Lightning Fast. So, we're here for you. So so if there are more other questions, man, we're gonna get up out of here and get you back to your normal everyday lives, man. Stay safe, stay dangerous out there. And we will be back next week with our live show, 9 p.m. Standard Time, right here, right now. But outside of that, man, AJ, you got any farting words for the fantasy football fans before we get out of here?
Man, just want to say appreciate the questions. Hope we steer you guys. I know we steered you guys right. Hope you guys end up in the playoffs. Hope myself ends up in the playoffs, and hope everyone has a solid and productive fantasy week, unless I'm playing you, as I always say.
As always, got up that line. That is it, man. That is it, man. But as always, man, drop a line on the YouTube channel, because if you want to get to that goal fast, the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast is where you want to be. So we'll be back next week. And like I said, we drop content all throughout the week to get you ready for week 9. So in the meantime, between time, I'm Coach Defense. That is the real AG Alex Givens. Until next week, we'll see when we see you. Step up and lock it down.